welcome to Justice. I'm Judge Jeanine Pirro. Thanks so much for being with us tonight. Let's get right to it. Here's my opening statement. The lunacy in this country is not just about reform, it's about the destabilization of our nation. It's about manipulation, the left's manipulation, causing as much chaos as possible to get President Trump out of office. Now, equal rights and equal justice are essential. I spent my career passionately fighting for both, fighting to make sure there was a level playing field, that everyone had their day in court, that we try to make victims whole again, and that there are consequences for illegal acts. And we did so without fear or favor. That is law and order in a free society. As a nation, we and our laws evolve every day. In 1864, it was the Civil War. In the 60s, it was the Civil Rights Act. In the 90s, affirmative action. Today, it's police reform. The past weeks, however, have been a horror show, a response to the outrageous killing of George Floyd by a police officer we all agree deserves the harshest punishment. But Lady Justice must have tears under her blindfold as cities devolve into chaos and anarchy by those allegedly seeking reform, but instead spew hatred and venom, causing injury and damage to people and property. They riot, loot, burn, and take down statues with impunity. Where are the arrests? Where are the prosecutions? Where are the perp walks? The press releases saying we're doing our jobs. But no, silence. And I'm tired of hearing we're working on it. If justice is not swift and certain, there is no justice. Now, riots in Democrat-run cities like Minneapolis, Seattle, Washington, New York, Los Angeles, Cleveland, Atlanta, Louisville, and Oakland, police thrown out of their precincts in Seattle and Minneapolis as Democrat mayors order police stand down, police responding to a report of shots fired in Tampa are then ambushed by hundreds. And as police are vilified, criminals become more emboldened as they injure and kill police in this war on law and order. Now, every officer knows there's a target on his or her back, which might explain why 272 uniformed cops filed for retirement at the NYPD in the weeks since George Floyd's death. And yesterday, at Minneapolis City Council just okayed a charter to remove the Minneapolis Police Department. Now, once these leftists occupy and take over neighborhoods, they demand and then receive food and water from compliant Democrats. No surprise, within 2 weeks, the shootings start. Police, to their credit, previously chased out of their precinct, respond to the 911 call as the Hate America group refuses their entry, pelting them. The 19-year-old shot that night dies. There was no crime scene preservation, no interviewing witnesses. There would simply be no justice in this so-called nirvana. And then within 48 hours, a second round of shooting in the chop zone, and then a third and a fourth. And one of those shot, seeking victim status, claims the police didn't respond quickly enough. Seattle police then release a 5-minute video showing police and emergency responders being prevented by a violent crowd from getting to that victim. And now, schizo Summer of Love Seattle Mayor Jenny Durkin asks the occupants to leave. The squatters, of course, refuse and threaten business owners with retaliation if they paint over their graffiti. Capitol Hill businesses and residents are now suing over the handling of Chop Zone, claiming that she and the city effectively authorized the actions of these anarchists. And this woman is so tone deaf to the damage she facilitated that she started her re-elect 2021 mayoral campaign early. So who are these people who claim to be about eliminating racism, yet tear down statues of Ulysses Grant, who galvanized the Union Army to defeat the Confederacy? who destroyed the monument of an abolitionist in Boston, paid for by the first all-black regiment who fought in the Civil War? They are now eyeing Abraham Lincoln and the Emancipation Monument. Even the black entertainment television founder Robert Johnson is slamming protesters for toppling even Confederate statues, calling these protesters, quote, borderline anarchists. He questions whether black Americans even support this. And the universities where this thinking all got started, today, Princeton University announced it will remove President Woodrow Wilson's name from campus, citing his racist thinking. They have burned and vandalized churches from St. Patrick's in New York to St. John's in Washington, a historic church a short walk from the White House where Abraham Lincoln would go to pray. Christian figures and symbols, and even Jesus in particular, have been targeted. Think about it. What states were you prevented from practicing your religion during COVID? All Democrat states. Now think about the states where this militancy is happening. Democrat. Are you beginning to see a pattern here? There's far less looting and burning in Republican-led states because the Republican governors will call on the National Guard in addition to ordering police to arrest those violating the law. This mob rule is all about creating chaos to defeat President Trump. Do the arsonists and looters know that there aren't going to be consequences for their actions? Who are they? Take a look. Here's a leader of the New York chapter of Black Lives Matter.
If this country doesn't give us what we want, then we will burn down this system and replace it, all right?
This is an insurgency that is destabilizing our government. Where are our leaders condemning these acts? Where are our leaders, Democrat and Republican? Where is the outrage? Are they afraid? Where is the guy running for president, Joe Biden? He's not criticizing this, and he doesn't even need to come out of his bunker to say the obvious. He needs to take a stand. Or is he in favor of this? Is he in favor of this unruly lawlessness? And where is Nancy Pelosi? Her only thought? Blame Republicans for the death of George Floyd. And where is Hillary Clinton? She hasn't stopped yapping since she lost the election. And where is the chorus of people we elected, the people we campaigned for, gave money to, believed in, to stand up for our law and order? One leader, though, we have heard from is Barack Obama. Take a listen.
There is a great awakening going on around the country.
So that's what you call it? The anti-cop sentiment and rage has caused police deaths and over 1,000 injured across the country. In spite of the incredible number of shootings in Chicago in one weekend, prompting a letter from President Trump to Governor Pritzker and Mayor Lightfoot calling on them to protect victims, these Democrats are at best hands-off and at worst encouraging the lawlessness. 104 people shot, 14 killed, including a 3-year-old last weekend. This lawlessness creates an atmosphere of anarchy that itself invites actions, like a homeless man sleeping on a sidewalk, set on fire by firecrackers by a couple of thugs, where a man is shot in cold blood in New York City simply wiping down his car, where a white employee in Macy's is beat down by a black man in the store with no one coming to help. Now, no surprise, gun and ammunition sales are now through the roof. The combination of the coronavirus lockdown and the daily shock of repeated lawlessness has people on edge. They feel helpless and alone, afraid. And with crime statistics increasing, gun purchases rising, police reluctant to or told not to respond, including 911 calls that may yield no response, there is destined to be trouble. I don't know when reform will happen because the Democrats refuse to work with one African American Republican